everybody. It is week 7, and I'm here at one of my favorite places in the world, Killarney Provincial Park, with some friends. And I'm just going to talk to you about what happened last week and what happened this week and the muddiest points. So last week, you did your archives presentations, which were great to watch, lots to learn, and we'll give you feedback as soon as we can. Remember that you are responsible for knowing everyone else's archives as well as your own. So I've posted them under the archives presentation spot, but also under week 6. Very serious and professional. Next week, so the week after reading week, on Monday, you're going to actually be kind of practicing putting some of the methods that you learned about in the archives presentation into action. I'm going to mix up the group so you'll have people that worked on different archives, and we'll see how we can apply those to some research problems. And then on Wednesday, you're actually going to be looking at IPCC reports, the first time that we're doing that in this course, although we've talked about them before. And in that case, you do have a required reading to do ahead of time. So make sure you check out which chapter that you're supposed to read. And there's currently a chickadee right on my phone right now. I hope it comes to see you. We'll see. Oh, no. It'll come. But yeah, so make sure that you complete that required reading, and I'll be back in a moment with muddiest points. Hey everybody, good to see you. I hiked the Crack, which is a really cool hike in Killarney Provincial Park. I'll show you some videos in a second, but I wanted to check in about a few things. First of all, you have to start thinking about your passion projects. So you might be starting thinking about what's been interesting so far about paleoclimates, or you might start thinking about what do you want to know about future climate change or share with others, or what would be useful for the world, or what would be useful for your kind of future career path. So I put lots of ideas online. If you haven't checked out that tab yet on the assignment section, check that out and start thinking about what you might actually do for your passion project. No, I can't do it. It's actually really, really bright up here. So also Georgian Bay is behind me right now. So what else is happening? Your communication projects are also coming due, because the last possible due date was March 22nd. So even if you chose the last available date, you want to start thinking about getting going on that, especially so that all of your to-do items don't collide. Yeah, and so I'll move on a little bit and we'll talk about muddiest points. So a bunch of you are wondering about how the tree reconstructions really work and are getting a little confused about it. Here's what I really want you to know. Reconstructions are based on real relationships between some sort of variable, like say tree ring width, some sort of variable in the reconstruction or in the archive, that is, like tree ring width, and some sort of variable that can be measured in the modern day, like temperature or precipitation. So if there is a relationship between, say, temperature and tree ring width, then that relationship is applied back in time. And not only do they reconstruct that way, they actually can test those relationships. So it's not like they just go, oh yeah, here's a reconstruction, now we have temperature, woohoo, like we're good. They actually then can test those reconstructions, especially, for example, if you're going back in time, you can test against other records, or you can even test against instrumental records if, for example, your reconstruction goes back 1,000 years, but also covers the last 100 years. And the other thing that I want you to remember is that scientists are used to reporting uncertainty. They're not embarrassed about reporting uncertainty. It's usually represented by a shaded kind of gray area above and below the reconstruction. They want to share how certain they are about their measurements back in time. That's not concerning. That's part of science. We're never going to get rid of uncertainties about anything. The thing that you should be concerned about are people that report things as if they are absolute truths. That's when you start to wonder, where are you getting your information? People that sometimes think that we're overblowing climate change, for example, will sound absolutely certain about what they're seeing. And that's just not how science works. All the meetings that scientists go to are part of the reason that they share their work is to get people to kind of give them ideas about things that they might do differently, they might analyze differently, they might improve, share methods, things like that. Yeah, uncertainty isn't a bad thing. It is interesting to see, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the IPCC report, that scientists have changed a little bit the way they communicate uncertainties. Because to be fair, the general public doesn't necessarily understand what uncertainty means. And they might sometimes think, not even just the general public, but politicians might think, oh, you're not certain. So let's not worry about it until you're absolutely certain. Um, so, yeah, just something to think about in regards to science.